Hey, this is JR McNair. Welcome to the Small Business Nation and the Entrepreneur Spotlight. It's another exciting day in the studio. I have a phenomenal entrepreneur, Miss Tiah Lee of Gnomes Wellness, IV and Hydration. And let me tell you something, man. Like, I played pro ball as an athlete. I played college football. I played high school football. And I'm going to tell you, it's nothing more draining as an athlete than being dehydrated and not having fluids in your body. And that's just period, man. Like, I mean, most of our health issues that we have in the world happen a lot of times from being dehydrated, strokes, heart attacks, people that are constipated, women on their menstrual cycles. I mean, it just all goes down the line from a lack of hydration. So this is an issue that is huge and something that I believe that we need to address and just talk about and see how companies like Tiah's can help us roll from this point. But Tiah, how you doing?
I'm doing great, JR. Look, you done did out the whole show already.
Okay.
You told everything. You told it all already. But you are absolutely right. Everything that what it boils down to is on the cellular level, making sure that we are staying hydrated, getting our cells nourished and keeping us healthy so we can prevent things like strokes and all of these chronic diseases that we're seeing in our community.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think that's great. And I'm gonna jump into all of this great stuff about, hydration, your company and all of that. But first off, like, give me some background on you, like who you are and just how you got here.
Okay, so I'm Tiah Lee. I am a registered nurse who started off as a licensed practical nurse. I have been in healthcare, wow, since I got out of high school. So that has been about 26 years now. That has been
Okay.
my life. It's been my goal to be involved in people's wellness and making sure that my community is working on being better. We have a lot of disparities out here in healthcare, and so I seek to find those disparities and correct them, as well as help with all of the typical, like I said, chronic diseases that we have that we don't have to have, because if we start with being well, then there's no need for sick care.
Mm-hmm. No, totally. And I think in a lot of countries, I mean, we're one of the countries that I think is a little backwards. A lot of countries like China and all those, they pay the doctors for you being well, not
Exactly.
being sick, right?
Well, America has started now with these incentives for you to go to the doctor and have these wellness incentives, but this is only recently coming. So you're right. We're backwards and we're actually behind the game right now in the game.
No, totally. And I think that's something that's key. And I think, when most of us think about healthcare and we think about stuff, we think about popping pills, we think about, surgeries and stuff like that. And although those things are useful, those I don't believe should be primarily the things that, as a matter of fact, where we kind of get, a lot of our basis of health really kind of started, with Hippocrates, where he talked about let food be thy medicine, right?
Correct. Yes.
And I think that's important. I mean, because really, as any living being, whether you're a single a cell organism or you're an advanced organism like we are in humans, you need sustenance to survive. And I think the foundation of that while we live here in these bodies is water, right?
It is. It is.
And
80% of our body is water. I mean, your brain is floating around in cerebral spinal fluid, which is water. So we have to understand that being hydrated is where we have to start in order to be well.
No, totally. And I have a book that I'm finishing. It's called one of my books. I got a couple I'm writing at the same time, but one is called The Healthy Entrepreneur, and one of the and actually I have like 5 pillars of health, and the number one pillar of health that I have, the basis, the most important one is hydration.
That is correct.
And so that is the most important thing is hydration. And then I go on from that point to kind of talk about rest, and how important rest is, and then how important stress is, or a lack of it,
Yes.
And then then the fourth most important thing that I look at is nutrition, And then the fifth thing that I look at is exercise.
Okay.
So, and that's how I would look at a chart. If I was to prioritize most important things, that's how I would prioritize it.
Right.
Hydration, then I would look at, after hydration, I would look at rest. Then after that, I would look at stress. Okay, because I'm telling you, stress take cats out.
Right. Yes. I mean, if you get to your level of stress will interrupt your rest, and it's going to interrupt your hydration.
No, totally. And I'm gonna
So
tell you, a lot of people, when you have stress and you're not properly hydrated, that's what causes these things to happen.
Yep.
You know,
Breakdowns in this finely tuned machine that we have here.
yeah, no,
Exactly.
totally. I mean, I've seen people like, have strokes, have all kind of other stuff.
Mhm.
And it's not that the stroke wouldn't have. I mean, it's not that the cause of the stroke was the fact that they weren't hydrated, but it added on top of it, right?
Correct. It's a culmination of things that will happen, but the basis of it is we started off being deficient
Mhm.
somewhere. And more than likely it's a nutrient, it's an electrolyte. There's an imbalance somewhere. And that imbalance on that cellular level comes from the lack of hydration.
Yep, totally. And that's the thing. I look at it, I'm like, man, I see how my mom had, she passed out of here, but part of the reason she got out of here at 61, 10 years ago was because of a lack of hydration that ended up causing these other issues that happened. And when she put herself under enormous amounts of stress, it was just like the breaking point, literally.
Exactly.
And so, and these are things that I think that if we address and we look at, I always tell people all the time, like, people, they look at me and they say, man, you must not weigh that much. I mean, I was a pro athlete, and even today I weighed 200 and almost 220 pounds.
Right.
I don't, thank God I don't have no, stomach or nothing.
You got it
And
going on, huh?
but you gotta look at that and say, hey, because of that, I have a lot of muscle.
Right.
Gotta make sure that I'm putting enough water into these muscles.
Correct.
And I stopped lifting weights about 15 years ago, and I was like, but even so, you have these muscles that you have to hydrate,
Right.
and so, and if you're not hydrating those muscles, they're gonna have issues, arthritis, brain issues, not being able to think. I mean, it's so much data on just how hydration just jacks, a lack of hydration jacks everything up.
Everything.
Even be able to think.
You get brain, you get brain fog. Yes, you will definitely get brain fog. And then as far as like you said, with your as being an athlete, here at Gnomes Wellness, we do IV hydration for muscle recovery, just for specifically for muscle recovery, because that is extremely important in that arena when athletes are out here working hard. And even our student athletes here in my community, we do with them as well. So it's the same thing, basically just maintaining, getting those muscles back to normalcy and able to rest, like you said, because that's a huge thing, being able to rest and recover.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think when you're talking about all this, the hydration, making sure we get these things. I'll typically tell people, and because before it was like people would say drink eight glasses of water. And my thing, I always tell people, have at least half your body weight in ounces.
Half your body weight in ounces. That is correct. Yes.
And so, when you're putting this inside, and if you're working out, you're doing like physical activities, you need more.
You need
Right?
more. Exactly. And you would be surprised at how many of us don't get enough water.
Oh no! I know this stuff, and it's still a challenge for me to get in the right amount of water. And I know this stuff. I've studied this stuff. I played pro ball. I did all of these things, and I know better, right? And but it's still, oh man,
it is a challenge. It is a challenge. Believe me, I know. And
it,
hence the reason why I have Gnomes Wellness and IV Hydration, because
so
I know that it is a challenge. Yeah.
let's talk about that. So who so first off, tell me about the company. Okay, what it is, how somebody goes about getting it, and who would be a typical customer that you would serve?
So Gnomes Wellness and IV Hydration, I'm an entrepreneur. I am a wonderful, wonderful nurse who has just been out here wanting to learn more, to be of a help to my community. IV Hydration is for everybody because, like we said, all of us are finely tuned machines that need to be hydrated. But we look at specifics like athletes and even persons like people with fibromyalgia. I have a lot of patients who have fibromyalgia, who have a lot of fatigue and just are always in pain, and so they don't have a lot of motivation to get up and do anything. I
Mhm.
treat a lot of those patients for their, again, muscle fatigue and for their just everyday fatigue, just to be sure that they are getting hydrated and so that they can stay on top of things. What we don't realize is when we hydrate, it puts fluid back into our bodies so that our blood is able to circulate better and it's able to nourish our brains and nourish all from head to toe, nourish us and bathe our cells in these nutrients and electrolytes that we so need just to function. Um, Gnomes Wellness and IV Hydration has been up and running now for about 3.5 years. I created Gnomes Wellness and IV Hydration because I said, I'm a nurse who knows things. So I gnomes it all. and
That's
that's where I got that from.
okay.
I do drips, including even beautification drips, things for your skin. Hydration makes your skin look great anyway, but we have some compounds that we can use for ladies who want to do, just a glow to the skin, a different type of glow. We also have some age defying results that we can provide for people, as well as we have compounds that do weight loss and weight maintenance.
Mhm.
I have clients of all ages, all sizes, and just of every generation that you wouldn't believe that just come they get on the website gnomeswellness.com and set up an appointment, and guess what, we are concierge, we come to you.
Totally, totally. And let me tell you, and I put that website up at the bottom, guys. And
Yeah.
I think you're a good picture of your work. You have great skin, and I
Thank
think
you.
that's a good thing. And I mean, I always tell people never trust the skinny chef, right? If,
Right. Right.
if you
Exactly. Who
if you
who know who knows what they got going on.
exactly, right? Are you, oh, I'm gonna help you with your stuff. Like I see people talking about, oh, I'm gonna be a trainer. And I'm like, dude, but you like 50 pounds overweight. Like, you know what I'm saying? With a stomach,
Right.
and you talking about training somebody, like
Right.
that just don't make a lot of sense to me. And and even, you have to look the part to be able to tell other people,
I appreciate that.
not that
Thank
we're
you.
perfect. That's not what I'm
Right.
saying. But if
Right.
you're talking about going and talking to somebody specifically about something and you haven't at least somewhat mastered it, not that you have
Right.
totally mastered it, but you have not at least somewhat mastered it, then how can they see that anything is going to actually work for them?
I
You know?
am I am a I am a product of my wellness.
Yeah, totally, totally.
Exactly.
And that's the thing, though. I mean, I think these are things that people want to see. Hey, is it working for you?
It
You
is.
know,
It
and
is.
so no, that's so walk me through. Like, so how does it actually work? Is it like an injection? Like, how does all that work?
Okay, so we have different things. We do have drips. Drips are is a what is called intravenous. So we would have to it is a poke, of course, that goes directly into the arm vein that we
Mhm.
use. It only takes about 30 minutes for an actual drip to be infused.
Okay.
And we you sit with we get you in a nice comfortable spot wherever you're comfortable. We get you comfortable. We use aseptic technique, meaning that we're always clean. We're always with gloves and alcohol and everything that we need to have a clean environment, because it is invasive when we do, using needles. It is invasive. And so we do, practice aseptic technique with that. But we get you started on whatever of the compounds that you want based on your symptoms. And this is after we have some lab work done as well. You can have your labs brought into us or you can have them done with us. But we do like to go over a little medical history with you, of course, to be sure, that our services are right for you.
Mhm.
But like again, we do have the IV drips as well as we also have injections that we can give as well because some people don't need all of like with normal saline, which is mostly our base hydration fluid. It also has other electrolytes in it as
So what
well.
is
And
that? Say it again. The saline was it?
normal saline, yes, normal saline, that's just 0.9%, which is sodium chloride.
Okay.
And so it does have other, electrolytes in it. And so because it has other electrolytes, we don't want you to get too much of anything.
Mhm.
Um, no real sign of anybody ever having to OD on electrolytes, but
Mhm.
any too much of any one thing is not going to be good. So we
Totally.
do get some lab work from you. We make sure that everything in your medical history lines up and we go from there based on your symptoms and your concerns. We can help you.
Totally. So, and when somebody, let's just say somebody goes into a hospital, right?
Mhm.
They're like, oh man, these people are dehydrated. That's what they typically get.
First thing they're going to do is get some lab work, and the
Yep.
second thing they're going to do is start you on an IV,
Yep.
and that's going to
Exactly.
cost you at the hospital quite a bit.
Yeah. Totally.
Whereas with those IV hydration, it's not going to cost you that much, and I can guarantee it's not going to take you that long.
Yeah. Totally. You don't have to
And you
be.
can do it from home.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. That's great. That's great. No, and that's the thing. I mean, shoot, you're gonna spend an hour getting ready, driving in
Hmm.
somewhere 45 minutes to
Hmm.
an hour, sitting in the lobby,
Correct.
waiting for somebody for at least 2 hours.
Right.
Then they finally get you set up. They do some tests. Then when they finally, the test may take a couple hours. Then they finally say, okay, we're gonna hook you up with this. Shoot, you could be from the time that you needed it to the time that you actually got it. It could be 8 to 10 hours.
That is correct. Whereas
And
you,
even
whereas you give us, you get on our website or give us a call, and we can be to wherever you are in no time.
Yeah, totally. And then you talking about then you still have to actually get it done, and then get up from there and leave and drive home. When you saying that this can be done inside of a home, which is
You,
great. I
yep,
love that.
right at your home, your office. We are mobile. We're concierge. We come to you.
Yeah, most definitely. And I like I said, you're not just somebody just rolling up and doing this, but you're actually a nurse, and you know how to do this in a way that is based on medical standards, right?
That is
Not
correct. Yes, sir.
and this is key because it's people that are doing all kind of interesting stuff out there, and they haven't went to school, they haven't learned these
They have
things.
not done it. Yes, they have not gotten any kind of degrees or went to school. I have been doing this again, like I said. Um, I will tell you this, guys. Poking people is fun to me, so that's why I love my job so much. But I love also the fact that I poke people for their wellness. That's what makes it even greater. I've been doing this for 25 years. I started out fresh out of high school. I've always wanted to be in the healthcare community and to be a part of getting our America back to being well and not having to have so much of the medications that are out here that you take a medication for a symptom and it causes you four other symptoms.
Totally. Totally. It's just a lot of this stuff is really them um you know masking over the problem instead of really
Correct.
like solving the problem, right?
And
But
instead of getting to the root cause, which JR,
yeah,
you and I have already determined from a cellular level, it's hydration. And
hydrate.
that's why we here at Gnomes Wellness, we believe in cellular level with you in the center because we believe in who you are.
Totally. No, and that's key. I mean, so really, so let's talk about the type of people who you would say, man, you need this. And I know anybody can do it, but if you
Mhm.
were to say, like, who are some of the top people that this would be key for? Who would be some of the top people that this would be key for?
My our iron deficient patients are patients who have had surgeries of any kind, especially
When you say
those
iron deficient patients, you mean people that what's the iron deficiency that a lot of women have?
anemia.
Anemia. That's it.
Anemia, yes, anemia.
Cold and stuff like this, and
Yes,
you
yes.
know,
Patients, yeah, patients with anemia, those are patients who have had surgeries, especially our bariatric patients.
oh,
They go through a lot of changes in electrolytes and imbalances. And so we get a lot of those to come in who are just feeling really sluggish. And so we get them back to normal. Again, our sports, our athletes, our cheerleaders. I love to see my cheerleaders come in because they work really hard.
they really do.
They work they work very
Watched that
hard.
Netflix special on cheer. At first, I was like, "What? They ain't doing too much of nothing." I watched that Netflix special on cheer. I was like, "Man, the type of work
Those
they
yeah,
putting in,
those ladies and gentlemen
they
get
are
it
definitely
in.
athletes. They are
Yes,
definitely athletes.
they get it in. And
Oh
so
yeah,
yeah, and we have and then some of our patients with chronic conditions, again, like the fibromyalgias. We also have a couple people who just come in again for just for beautification, for R&R, just to feel better. And so we really look forward to seeing everyone, because everyone is somebody that we can assist.
correct, correct. Yeah, no, that's great. And so, so if so, typically, like if I'm gonna do like some lab work, does that take like some days, or that, like, how does that work? Like if I say, hey, you know what, I want to do this, how does the process work, and how
So
would I
we
go about
we
doing
okay, we partner with the lab that can get us our labs back, that guarantees our labs back in 24 to 48 hours.
it? Okay, cool.
Okay.
So
So yeah, so that is key. That's paramount. Again, you also have the option, if you've had some recent lab work, I'm gonna say within the past 30 days, with another provider somewhere, your doctor's office or something, you can bring your lab work in and we can go over those labs with you as well during your consultation. Your consultation does again involve the lab work and then us talking about your medical history and then the concerns that you're having.
yeah, no, I think that's great. I mean, because it's just like when I'm doing business as a consultant, I typically all the time, it's very hard to give people strategy and advice if you don't know where they currently are. You
Exactly.
have
I
to
have
do
to
that
I have to
discovery,
start where you are. Yes, sir.
do that discovery and understand where they are, so we can know how to properly treat and how to properly advise. So, no,
Right.
that's great.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
what are some? Tell me now, like, you know, what are some tips that we can have right now, just as entrepreneurs, just as people, just whatever, just to make sure that we're hydrated. I know, of course, giving you a call so you can hook us
Of
up, but
course.
what are some things that we can do to just make sure we're not out here hydrated, living not so our best lives.
So basically, just making sure that you're drinking plenty of water. Like you said, our bodies are 80% water, so it is necessary that we're drinking water. I myself am a alkaline water drinker.
Mhm.
Okay, alkaline water can be purchased, but alkaline water can be made from regular tap water. All you
Yep.
have to do is put you some lemons and limes and fruits in that water, because fruit is alkaline, and so it will make your water alkaline, and it also makes it taste great.
Mhm.
So those just starting there, basically simply adding on to how much water you drink per day. Again, we did say that is a challenge, because we both know that busy people don't like to stay in the bathroom.
Mhm.
So, so
Totally.
we know that that is a challenge, but at the same time, it is the basis of who we are as people, as human beings. We are liquid. You got to replenish.
Totally, totally. And it was so funny you talking about staying in the bathroom. My brother from another mother, they Michael B. Jordan, they talk about how he said, man, I had to go in the restroom like 2 hours. I mean, no, consistently, because he's drinking like 2 gallons worth of water a day,
Uh-huh.
because I'm
Hmm.
always in the restroom. And I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, that's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, but it's more of a good
Yes.
thing than it is a bad thing, because at
It
least
is, because you're flushing your kidneys out. I mean, that's exactly what's happening. That's the good thing about being hydrated, is you're getting rid of the waste that is inside by flushing it through your kidneys.
No, totally, totally, totally. And and just, just making sure that you have what's necessary so that you don't, have kidneys that are jacked up, your liver that's jacked up, all of these things like this, things that
Which
help.
leads to those chronic conditions like high blood pressure that so many of us have, that diabetes that so many of us have. Those those are the things that this is why Gnomes Wellness and IV Hydration is here to help prevent those chronic conditions, because small things like drinking water and being hydrated can keep our kidneys healthy and keep our livers healthy and keep our pancreas healthy and keep our skin healthy, which is our largest organ of our body.
No, totally. And that's the whole thing. I don't understand why, especially in certain communities, that is not something that is highlighted more, just because I'm like, man, like that would, solve a lot of problems. I
Solve a
was
lot
just,
of problems, but it's not highlighted because there is an underlying purpose
yeah,
as
yeah,
to, hey, if you stop buying
right,
medicine, then we're not the pharmaceutical companies aren't going to make money,
yeah,
so but if I can give you what you already have that you're just a little deficient in,
yeah.
to fix that and to prevent you going to where you have to go and buy medicine from the pharmaceutical company, I'm willing to help.
Yeah, and and that's the thing. I think part of it is our ignorance as Americans, just not even understanding what baseline things we need
Exactly.
as human beings to survive. Right, where
Right.
in a lot of other countries, it's kind of built into the culture.
Right.
Where
It's taught. It is, yeah, it is taught to them exactly what is necessary for us to take care of our bodies. And
Mhm.
so we miss that out. We miss out on that a lot here, especially in our culture as well. So I commend you, JR, for taking the time to even highlight this, and your knowledge of it is so superb. Like you got it going on.
Well, listen, I had to figure this stuff out myself, because I was
Right.
like, when I was playing ball, I'm like, man, I got to figure out a way, going against 350-pound men, I had to figure out how
Yeah.
to make sure that my body was right. But no,
And
you're right. I mean, you look at even when I was playing football in Europe, the crazy thing was when we would go, the eggs that were there, which is crazy. Like, and this is
mhm,
just from my experience.
right.
When I was over there, you go to the grocery store, their eggs, when you crack them open, the yolk was like orange.
Hmm.
Like, so it was a
Very,
different,
very rich.
very rich.
Very
And
rich.
when you went and got cereal over there, it was not
Uh-huh.
the same. It was the same type of cereal, but it wasn't the same
But it
ingredient
was not the
as
same
the cereal.
ingredients.
And
Exactly.
so, it was something. I mean, we used to go down to, like, they had a butcher like downstairs on my flat was, and I mean, man, it was like you would go down there. The meat was so fresh.
Hmm.
I mean, even the ice cream. You say ice cream, but it just tasted like
Every
real ingredients.
everything was different. Because it was real ingredients. They
Yeah,
like here at Gnomes Wellness IV Hydration, we have several different things going on, but we got eggs in our backyard from our chickens. We
yeah,
have we have milk in our backyard from our goats
yeah.
because we know what it takes to maintain our wellness.
Yep, yep. No, that's phenomenal. I mean, I remember, man, like even way back then, I still ate pepperoni on pizza. But even their pepperoni they had, like, this was back in like 2005. I remember that even tasted different. I was like, what is
Mhm.
that? We was at Pizza Hut. I was like, this
Yep.
don't taste like regular Pizza Hut pizza. But it's so interesting now in our culture. My kids, sometimes they're eating, they have this stuff. What is it? Toppies or Takis or whatever that.
That stuff
And
that's tearing up the lining of their stomach.
I was like, my daughter, she was like, "Ooh, Dad, I want this," and I was just like, and she was going in and buying it, and she was, and the other kids was like, laughing, like, that stuff is hot, this, that, and then I started looking at what she was buying. I said, "You can't buy those no more."
Mhm.
And it was like I said, and she was like, she was like, "Yeah," and she knew, because she was like, I was like, "No," I
Yes.
said, "What are you eating?
Yes.
This is like liquid fire or something like."
Yeah, exactly. A liquid stomach perforation. Yes,
Yeah, and
exactly.
I'm like, "What are you doing?" I said,
I
"No,
and
never."
I had to tell my son the same thing, JR. So, but it starts at home. So,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
ex- that's where that's another reason why I am so passionate about what I do, because I have a family and I love them and I want them to be around a long time. I
yeah.
want them to be well, and so we have to start there. So we work together. We look the part, we act the part, and we make it happen.
Yeah, no, and that's so key. And that's why I was looking, I was like, man, I said, we gotta, just make sure. And I always tell people, you don't have to eat, like I remember it was one guy, he was one of the entrepreneurs I was helping, and he was coming with some of his partners, and I had an event, and we had salad, and I had some other stuff too. Like we had chicken, and we had salad and other stuff. And so he gets the chicken, he gets some other things. And I was like, man, I said, man, you get no salad, man. I don't want none of that bird food. And so, and I was like, but that guy, he did not look like, he looked like he was pregnant with twins. And so,
See.
like, I'm just saying, like, and the point was, I was like, dang, man, like, but he had more health issues going
Right.
on later, just because of the things he was not putting in his body to take care of himself. And these are some things that I said, man, you can't do that. You just can't
Right.
jack yourself up like that. So, but yeah, so I have seen you kind of really like roll and go since you've kind of, because I've known you, for some years, and you've kind of had an opportunity to really like roll and kind of be and be a part of our community. Like, kind of talk about that journey and how you were able to just kind of get started and rolling what you're doing.
So, as a part of the SB, going through the incubator program and having you all to be just inspiration to me, build me up. Sometimes it gets rough out here. It's when it's challenging starting a new business, but when you have the SB backing you, it makes it so, it makes it easier. It makes it so that you feel like, I can do this. You guys really instill in us that if you believe that you can, if you want to do it, you can do it. And I can honestly say that JR, you personally and all your team have done nothing but to promote and build Gnomes Wellness and Tiah from the inside. And that has been the most awesome thing for me, because it made me feel like, hey, he told me, if he said if I could do it, I could do it. And you keep calling and you keep pushing and you keep jugging at me like, you can do this, you can do this. And that has been a great experience. Going through the SB Nation, all of the different podcasts and different webinars that you have, Mondays meeting with you and being able to talk with you and get different strategies on how we can get sales, and get out here and get this money and help people. And that is what really drives me to stay in my business, is that I'm helping people help people. And so, and I love that you do that, that's what your business is about helping people to help people. That's because all you do to me, you could just like you do and not say a word, and you've made a total impact.
Yeah, totally. Well, listen, we're one thing I know about you is that, and one thing that I like, I think that a lot of people don't actually take note of. But I think one of the things that I've seen that you've done has been amazing is you've always consistently had a good attitude towards whatever you've done. And not to say that I know that things weren't always going great with you, but I just know that you had a positive attitude. And I see that as a thing that that is so important and so big, and just to your health. And I have to do a better job myself of just making sure that I got with all my 7 kids. And sometimes I'm sitting there like, oh my goodness, y'all. I'm telling my son right now, man, look, just make sure you're drinking some tea, some something. And he end up, I'm just like, so my wife, a lot of times she had to tell me like, look, and I have to make sure that I'm, you
Just
know,
slow, yep, just slow down. And
yeah,
because you got to take care of you. They tell you on the airplane, put your mask on first, and then you can help the next person. So
that's
I'm gonna need you to keep your mask on, because you always is over here helping me.
and that's the thing. I mean, it's so easy for entrepreneurs, especially in entrepreneurs that are serving other entrepreneurs and serving other people, to
Yes.
sometimes get so much focused on serving
Mhm.
those people that you're like, man, dang, I need to serve myself. I need
Right.
to make sure.
Exactly.
I need
Well,
to make sure.
we were put here, and we, as a believer, we were put here to be servants, and that's
That's
what,
right.
and that we have the servant's heart. And so it gets to the point where you're right, you have to also serve yourself, because everybody else may not have that servant's heart for you, but you
Correct.
have to do it yourself. But I truly am grateful for the SB Nation, because you are a company about serving.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it. And what I want to do is, I want to, what is one piece of advice that you can give to just anybody out there? It can be business advice, it can be advice on their health, it can be advice on whatever, it can be both. Just give them some advice, some last pieces of advice that they could take from you to be able to apply in their life.
Be conscious of where you are. Know that you don't have to stay where you are. You can be anything, you can do anything, you can go anywhere. It's all about your thought process. If you have a millionaire mind, you are a millionaire. Be
Mhm.
that, and be who you are. Know your purpose, serve your purpose, and just live life to the fullest. Do not allow anything to hinder you from what God has in store for you, because it's greater than you can imagine. It's greater than we can see. And if you just push forward towards it, there's nothing that can stop you. The world is yours.
Totally, totally. I like that. I like that. I like that. And so that's something that I definitely want all the entrepreneurs is listening in
Yes.
our community and
Yes.
ones outside our community to know, like, this is, you got to keep rolling. You have to take an
Have to
account of
do.
where you currently are
Yes.
first. I
Mhm.
remember when I used to watch the GI Joe when I was a kid, they's like knowing is half the battle, right?
Knowing is half the battle. Yes.
And
So
if you don't
you
know,
gotta
I
know it. You gotta know it so that you can grow it. That's what it is.
exactly, exactly. So no, I definitely think those are some great words of advice to make sure you know who you are and this continue into that thing, and that's
Yeah.
great. And so I want to have as many people as possible to make sure that they're going to gnomeswellness.com. You can go on her site and end up scheduling something so that she can come and see you and help you get right. Okay,
Yes.
it's so so take my word for it. I can definitely vouch for her as an entrepreneur, as a person. And I definitely, and you can definitely tell just from what we've talked about here today that she knows what she's talking about. So definitely take this, guys. Y'all go out here and get well. Let's let 2025 be a year of
A
health, man.
year of health and wellness.
A
Yes.
year of health and wellness and wealth. Like, because I
Yes.
mean, the greatest wealth you can have is a healthy body,
Is a
right?
healthy body. Yes. We got to be healthy and wealthy.
Yes, correct, correct. So listen, guys, I'm super excited. Thank you once again, Tiah, for coming on
Thank you
here.
so much for having me, JR.
Yeah, most definitely, guys. So listen, y'all make sure y'all check out Tiah at gnomeswellness.com. You can see the actual, that's GNOMES wellness.com. Once again, y'all stay tuned with us here at the Small Business Nation. This is the Entrepreneur Spotlight. I'm your host, JR McNair, in the studio with Tiah Lee. And we want to just say thank you guys so much for
Thank
tuning in.
you.
And until the next time, guys, y'all keep making it happen.